Welcome everybody to I, the Serpent Tarot, for another pick a card reading. Today's pick a card reading is your mythical or mystical journey. So sort of your life seen at a heightened level of the key themes, the narrative arc, a little bit of the fantastical, the otherworldly, picking up ancient cultures, current cultures, past lives, current life, anything that Spirit wants to talk to you, which really helps to encapsulate what your potential hero's journey is, that kind of narrative arc, as I say. And I'm doing it in honor of just getting a new tarot deck from Taroteka Studios, the World of Visions Tarot. So this is an extremely beautiful tarot that has different sort of, what appears to me, different sort of cultures by the suits, as well as fantastical sort of Game of Thrones-esque, Wheel of Time-esque type of imagery in the major arcana as well too. So it transports us to another place and time, and I think is a beautiful backdrop for this type of exploration of your life on a more mythical level, on what it means on a larger level, and what you might have brought to the table, and the experiences that you might have had, and so forth. Taroteka Studios are the ones that made one of my favourite decks that you've seen quite often if you are a regular to this channel, and that's the Dark Mansions Tarot. So this is a very different tarot, but equally beautiful. And it's shown by here some of the images. I actually took out of the deck each of the queens as a representation of the deck itself and its beauty, but also to show you what I mean about the sort of mix of cultures, because the cups suit seems to me to be a bit like something like ancient Atlantis or ancient Lemuria. The wands seems to be around the Aztecs or Mayans or that kind of culture. The swords look as though it's in the era and the time of the samurai. And the pentacles looks to me like either Arthurian England or maybe Robin Hood's period of existence. So as you can see, it's quite a sweep of some of the sort of more mythical and slightly larger than life cultures that are in Earth's history and impact Earth's history. So I thought the queens were beautiful images to show that. It might help you go towards whichever you feel most drawn to in terms of culture or background or the imagery. Otherwise, you might choose using the number of the pile. Maybe you always go to pile number 3 or something like that. Whatever works for you, and by all means go to more than one reading if you feel drawn to more than one. There could be a couple of narratives, mythic narratives that you are creating and living through at the moment, and there could be elements of it across more than one reading. So you do you, but when you know which reading or readings you want to go to, as always, I've put the timestamps for the readings in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So I often start, as you know, if you know this channel well, with oracle cards. We'll get to oracle cards later in this particular reading, but partly because it is in honor of this new deck, I wanted to start with the tarot. And this first row of cards, I'm going to look at 2 levels. I'm firstly going to look at the spread of suits, major arcana, though in this case there aren't major arcana in this particular one, but the suits and the energies and cultures and so forth that I think are shown within this tarot, and what that might say about the focus of your narrative arc, your mythical journey at the moment. And then I'll have a look at the classic meaning of the cards to see a bit about what's happening at the moment. And so then we're going to move into looking at what stage you're up to in this mythic journey, and then we're going to look at what you don't see or what fate may have in store that you would be better off knowing about, whether it's good, bad or indifferent, to help you with your mythic journey. Really, literally, the last bit is the visit to the oracle that people on a mystical journey would often do. So to start with, we have a reasonable spread of the suits. All of the suits are shown here. And I am thinking of the suits in the sense that wands are about passion, ambition, drive, competition, battle. I'm seeing pentacles as about the material resources, home, family, community. I'm seeing swords as being the kind of spiritual and almost ascetic honor-based elements of a mystical journey. And I'm seeing cups as being the romantic, idealistic, the bigger picture aim of a quest and so forth. So for you have a predominance of wands and pentacles. You have a little bit of the other two, but wands and pentacles both outrank, in a sense, the other energies here. So your mythical quest is a combination of ambition, potential to battle, to go out into the world, to create a sense of yourself, your personality, your beliefs, your visions, your artistic senses, all of those sort of things, all the sort of passionate, fire signy type energies combined with looking after your community, looking after the material resources, making something manifest. There is a little bit, as I say, of the kind of looking towards honor and service, and there is a little bit towards the heart, but you're really more the warrior and the builder. Your journey seems to be about others will work out the philosophy and so forth and bring everything back to the heart. You're loyal. You're very, very loyal, and you're very, very much about bringing something into being, defending things. So part of your mythic journey or your mystical journey may be to go into battle for your family, your friends, your community in some way, and do something to ensure that resourcing, wealth, abundance, fertility, nature, all of those things are protected. You are a protector of the material. Yet you'll leave the politics to others. You're not interested. You'll leave the singing of the songs to the bards, basically. You're out there doing things. So that's your energy. It's the actor towards the sustenance and the security of the realm, in a way, if we're thinking in terms of mystical sort of journeys or mythical sort of journeys. In terms of the classic meaning of these cards, you have created something around you that you want to protect, definitely. There is a material outcome that you've achieved already, but you worry about the cost of it. You're in a highly competitive environment where sometimes just keeping on feels a bit much. Potentially you are battling an enemy that is not using power correctly in some way. So you could be in a workplace where there was a boss who was all about them and their ego. With the King of Wands reversed, that's the sort of feeling of it, as opposed to helping others, as opposed to building something that is mutually beneficial. This is you in battle, and it's tiring by the looks of things. It looks like, and we'll see when we get to the stage of the battle that you're at, that in whatever this is, family, work, whatever, that's just an example with work, but there is some sort of battle you're doing to maintain and protect the material outcomes that you have achieved so far, or things that you relate to this, like family and so forth, family and community. And you have had to be quite on your own for this. You're not really battling. I mean, in both these sort of things, we've got the lonely element of the Five of Coins or Five of Pentacles. It is normally where the resources are not easily given to you and you need to find it within because there aren't people to help you. And here with the Nine of Wands, we're seeing the person is battling on, but they again seem to be alone. So I do think there's something about you being a lone warrior to defend against something that is not right. And what part of your battle is that wherever you are, there is a bit of a lack of honour. There needs to be a freedom from mental constraints, the culture that's around, whatever it might be, and a returning to some form of heart, some form of caring. So you do care. It's not that you don't, but your action is not really to be the person mending people, healing people, looking after people. Your action is to fight the good fight and bring some sort of material stability back, even if you have to be the lone fighter in doing it. But you are up against an environment, by the looks of things, where the heart and honour has been lost to ego. So I think your mythic journey, as I say, is as a knight, in a sense, as somebody who is out there in the battle, and a lot of passion, a lot of drive that you have for that. But it's really about the distribution of resources and about protecting others. So let's ask what stage you're at. I mean, I think we've got a little bit of advice on this already, but what stage are you at on this in your mythic or mystic journey? Okay. What it looks like is that you have won some of the battles. There's still probably some residual stuff by the looks of things to go, but this is why we had the Queen here, and now we have the Queen again, and this time the Queen of Wands. You are more than a match for this person, whoever it is, this egotist that is around you, whether it's a boss, whether it's a friend, whether it's a lover that's all about them and is a bit narcissistic, whatever it is, you are more than a match for them because you come from an authentic place and you come from a generous place. As I say, your fire energy, your drive, your ambition is towards building and protecting a community, protecting a family, protecting friends. So you have won some battles. You have definitely won some battles already. You haven't won the entire war because there is still confusion around. There is still deception around, and there is still some form of lack of clarity around what really should be the heart of something. But you're trying to think about, is there a way now to bring temperance in? I think this is the two sides of you, pile one. The side that is about the material. What are the actual benefits? You don't want to fight just to fight. You're not a warrior who gets upset if there isn't a battle to go to. The battle is to achieve something. So you're at a point where you've won, I would say, quite a number of battles. You're not sure about the clarity and the sustainability of it, but you're wanting to almost do a peace barter here. You would rather not keep having to fight the fight. You would like to sort of barter for peace. And certainly your material strength is there. The issue is, even though you are a match for this person, what is happening with other people? Where is the hearts and minds of other people? So if this is a battle in a relationship, what do the friends around it think? If it's a battle in a family, what's going on with the other people who have an emotional stake in this? If it is in a workplace, where are the loyalties? That's the sort of energy that I'm seeing here. So let's ask, what don't you see, or where might fate deal cards to you that you need to be aware of to help you in working out whether there is another battle you have to fight, or whether you have won enough ground that now you can broker the peace from a position of strength? Okay. What this is saying, I mean, it's very interesting. We've got so many queens that have come out here. You are very strong. It's saying you're very strong on your mind is very sharp and clear. Your battle sense is very well honed, and your material understanding and the consequences of things is very, very good. At this point, what you may not see is that when you see that the opportunity that is now here for the material outcome that you want, and there is a lot of blessing and opportunity there, at the same time, there is somebody who is trying to destabilize this. There is the antagonist in this story. They haven't yet been completely bested. It looks as though they've gone away maybe to lick their wounds, but they're actually working out who they can co-opt onto their side. See, the issue for you is that you're a lone battler for others, whereas many around you will go where they think they will be best looked after to some degree. And that's the issue. You've got to be able to show them that your way is the way that could do it. So there is a fight for the hearts and minds, and there is, Spirit wants you to know, an external wild card thing going on here where there is someone who will be deceptive. I feel like it's the same person for most of you. It's the same antagonist. But before it just sort of seemed like ego, but they're not above deception as well. And they can see that there is some sort of misunderstanding in the ranks and so forth. So Spirit wants you to know that the risk of that is that the harmony you're trying to get with the Four of Wands here reversed might be lost to you. You might find yourself battling again. What I'm getting is that you may be ahead of the curve with the people that you're trying to protect or support or love and care for in understanding what you're trying to do here and in understanding the outcome. As I say, whether this is in a workplace, a relationship, family, whatever it might be. And it is again picking up this, you are the lonely warrior in many ways. But Spirit is saying that that's your one Achilles heel, and that's where this person could try and co-opt these people onto the thing. So it's not as balanced as you think. And you need to really consider, like, what are you offering to others? With the Six of Pentacles in here, you need to articulate that more. See, this is the thing. Right up here, there was only one Swords card, only one Cups card. Your attention was not really focused on what you would communicate, the philosophy, the honor of what you're doing. Your attention wasn't necessarily even focused on what's the heart of it. You are a person of action and outcome. But this person uses words and propaganda and the heart in some way to mislead. So getting the Chariot back, you need to think about that. You need to use this side of you, which is not the side that you naturally default to, the Queen of Swords, to be able to, again, because she's upright, best the King of Swords who's reversed here. You have to get to people to make them see what you are doing is honourable and for their better good. It may be that you have the true information and they have the thing that feels comfortable and easy or something like that. You could be in a political war where you have the truth on your side and they have propaganda. But remember that they are reversed here, that they can be shown to be reversed. You have the clarity of like 3 queens upright. So the battle can be won, but you have to think also about the propaganda really around it, or the communication around it, and the heart of it, because I think you kind of take those things for granted. So as I say, the warrior rather than the politician, that's what you are, but there's a bit where you're going to have to be a bit more of the politician in whatever this is, because that's what this person is, and that's where their power is. So very interesting. You've got an interesting battle on your hands, an interesting mythical journey. So let's have a look at it in a number of ways. So we have some cards here which are to pick up both the sort of outcomes that are on some of the sort of mythic levels and then also on the more mundane. So firstly, we want to look at your mythical arc as a journey of transformation. So yours is the rescuer. So I think that this is saying that you are, as I say, you're the battler, you're the person who will go out and you will rescue others. But the rescuer doesn't always get seen in the end as the person who brings in the new. So you need, because you are more than that, your arc is also about bringing in the new and bringing in the better way. And again, whether this is in a relationship, a career, around your community, whatever it is, your arc, your transformative arc is to move from just rescuing and saving people into actually starting to show what the new will be. This is why the Ace of Pentacles is very important here. Then if we look at your narrative arc as adventure, we get a Norse attribute, and this is Gebo. And Gebo is actually about things like fertility, partnership, union. So something in the heart. This could be suggesting that for many of you, this is playing out as a relationship. It could be a rival in love. It could be a friendship. It could be things in a friendship group. So, but you are about the true union, the higher self, the partnership, the gift, the fertility that comes from that. So your adventure is an adventure towards more connection with others, not being the lonely warrior. But it comes through what you can manifest and understanding the guile of those who are potentially your competitors in whatever this is. Then let's have a look at it as a spiritual quest. We have Divine Gateway. So yes, this is moving through to the new. This is the point. You've battled and battled and battled to get rid of the old, whatever it is, or to be seen as the person who has the solution, whatever it might be. But you have to go through the gateway to the new. And the way to the gateway is through the heart, I think. Through the heart, and a little bit through how you articulate this so that you get other people to follow you through that gateway as well. So this is about taking the next step in your journey, being more than just the, as I say, the lone warrior, being also the manifester in some way. Okay, so let's have a look at it from a more mundane level. So we've got a card for relationship and a card for lifestyle. Relationship is authentic. You are authentic. This other person isn't. So this is a journey of authenticity and fighting for authenticity to matter. But remember that when it comes to the heart in particular, and if this is partly about that, about winning the hearts and minds of a lover or of people or a community, sometimes how it's presented is more powerful, at least initially, than what's really the structure of it. So you do need to know that it's not just enough to be authentic and to battle for the right, but it is to be seen and understood that that's what you're doing. And then lifestyle, we have reputation. Yes, because it is all about your reputation. This person, if they're going to try and battle anything, they'll try and battle, what your methods were, what you were really aiming to do. There's likely to be quite a bit of projection, that you're about the ego, that you're just, somebody who wants a fight, that you aren't connected to the heart, blah, 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 or that you want to be the ruler and they're meant to be the ruler, something like that. The issue for you will be to walk the talk and to integrate the various elements of your life so that you are about the solution, I think, or you are the option that somebody wants to be with if this is about love. Okay, so let's have a look at your spiritual gifts that could help you on this quest. So we've got 3 different decks, just going to pull a couple of cards from each just to get some help and advice from Spirit on this. Extrasensory perception, use your intuition, and angel. Okay, so angel suggests, because you are on the side of the angels, this is the point, that angels will watch over you, that you'll have, and we are going to use angel numbers later, so pay a lot of attention to what comes out of that for you. Angels are trying to protect you. They can see that you are the real deal as opposed to whatever it is that you're battling. Use your intuition. Also use telepathic connections. You can actually pick up what is going on in the hearts and minds of people, which is something you need to know for the battle that you're doing in whatever way it is. Use that ability, pile 1. Then, from another deck, Guardian. So yes, you're the guardian, you're the rescuer, you're the person that creates what is long-standing in whatever this is. And I think you also have a guardian. I think it's an angelic guardian. So believe in that. Believe that you are guarded and protected so that you can take on the battle. But also believe that part of the role of being a guardian for others is to reach their hearts and minds as well as provide for them. Then they can also help provide for themselves and for you. So that's an important aspect of this, of understanding that you don't always have to be the one, that you actually help empower other people as well. And then we'll look at divination abilities that could help you. Candle, illumination. Shagai, fragmented. So this is like bones and fossils and seashells. I think that this is saying that using your extrasensory perception, you can actually illuminate what is fragmented and not working. This is how you can get to the hearts and minds, because you're really about action and the material. But if you illuminate what isn't working for people around their hearts and minds, what doesn't make sense, it takes the power out of those that are trying to manipulate others. So I think it's using things in a way of showing where the alternative is not what it appears to be. It's illusory. You are the person who is fighting for something that's sustainable, and again, in whatever form this is. So now we want to have a look at the kind of main character arc. So we're using a couple of cards from the Divine Circus here just to get a sense of, from now into the near future, what kind of is the next step of this story for you. So it's interesting, beyond anything else, that in this deck that is well shuffled and well used, that we get 2 cards that literally follow each other. So I think it's definitely showing that these steps are close in your journey. This is why I think we have the Nine of Wands to start with. And you're kind of near the end of a particular battle. You have won certain battles. It's sort of, you're in the home stretch. The Circus of Love is turning your mind to love and to the heart. So it could be, as I say, that for some people this is a battle for the heart of somebody. With Pixie Perot, you can actually move to get that by being authentically you, but I think it's being all of you, not just taking on this role of rescuer and battler, but also allowing your heart in, letting the energy of love in so that you can be more truly you. Because the more authentic you are, because that's who you are, the more true you are, the energy of those that would dissuade, compete, manipulate, they can't stand in the illumination of that, in the shine of that. But you do have to show your heart to some degree. In whatever way this is, you have to show that this is something that comes from your heart. It's not just that you are a brilliant warrior with good business skills, for instance. It's something else. And if this is about a relationship, it's about showing that, not just demonstrating it by action and thinking actions will show it all the time. It's about what you say. It's about showing emotion as well, pile 1. Okay, so how we're going to finish off is just some advice. So we're going to start with some astrology advice. As I said, we're also going to look at a couple of angel numbers, and then we'll finish off with a crystal chakra card to see what chakra energy Spirit thinks you should be focusing on. So firstly, just some astrological energy that's around you. Pluto, conjunction, we'll have a look at what planets are involved, and South Node. Okay. So there is a transformation and a moving away from the past, definitely. Whether it is partly for you to transform and move away from just being the warrior into being someone who is loved, accepted in the community, and truly a leader, or truly the one who's chosen, whatever it might be, or whether it is that you are part of your battle is to move people or something away from a past that is no longer working. This is about transformation, and it is also about transformation of you to bring you back to your heart. Let's have a look with conjunction. Conjunction can either be an aspect of ease or it can be a challenge depending upon what planets are conjunct. So I'm just going to deal out till I get the planets. So Sun is one of them. Yes, this is about you and your life path. Sun and Mercury. Actually, that will work well. That is showing that even though you haven't put as much store by, the philosophy of all of this and explaining everything you're doing, you've been very much a person of action and material outcome. The reality is part of your life path is to also be able to articulate this, and you will have the ability to do it. You will be very articulate, like the Queen of Swords, when it is necessary. You will be able to argue with those that try to obscure or obfuscate the truth. That's part of who you are, and you will be able to do it. So let's look for angel numbers. What angel numbers want to tell you for your mystical quest, your mystical journey or mythical journey at this point, pile 1. Success, that's nice. And health, that's great. So success, angel number 7575. Your angels are reminding you of ideas and thoughts you've been intuitively receiving. Trust your inner knowing and avoid negative opinions of others. So maybe even whoever it is that you're battling, they have their own ego issues, they have their own struggles. It doesn't have to be, they would try and besmirch you if it suited them. They would do that to anyone, but you don't have to stoop to their level. You can have success just simply by your authenticity. And then health, angel 5555. You are being nudged to commit to improving your overall well-being. Consider healthier habits. Doing so will avoid future consequences. So maybe with the 9 of Wands, it was a bit of a risk of burnout. What I do like, however, and also with the 5 of Coins, what I do like though is with those Queens, and particularly right at the beginning with the Queen of Coins, you do have a really good constitution basically. That would suggest that is fine really. It's just a matter of not being burnt out. Okay, so to finish off, we're just going to ask Spirit what chakra they particularly would like you to focus on and what affirmations they would give you at this point. And we've got the root chakra. It gets to the health, I think, and to just your own vitality and the foundations of your life. And you will do that. You will create new foundations. Red jasper helps with rectification and boundaries. And the affirmations they want to leave you with are, I establish healthy boundaries and I rectify my mistakes. So it may be that part of this is understanding that not thinking about how you were communicating and your heart and your motives was a bit of a tactical error. But you can do that, and then you can establish the boundaries and the way that you communicate and therefore win the war. So pile 1, I've got every faith in you that you're going to come out on top here, but you do need to do it in such a way that you feel that you are authentic and that people can see you're authentic, because then you create something lasting in whatever your journey is at the moment, whatever your quest is. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. And if you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So this first line of cards I'm going to read in 2 ways. The first way I'm going to read it is in the balance of the suits and the major arcana, to get a bit of a sense of the energies of how your energy and your focus levels are for particular aspects of whatever this mythical or mystical journey is that you're on. And what strikes me is both the balance here of 3 key areas and also the absence of 2 others. And what I mean by that is we have 2 Wands cards. Wands to me talk about being in the battle, being in the passion, being in the drive and the ambition and all of that sort of thing. So you have a taste for the battle or the competition or the creativity or the passion, something like that is a big driving factor of your mythical or mystical journey. The other driving factor in terms of personality aspects is that you come very much from a strategic point of view. You go to your mind, you go to what is the strategy and the battle plan. These two together in a classic sort of fantasy novel or a classic sort of mythical journey would be the great military strategist, potentially. That kind of energy is around you in whatever way this is playing out in your life. You don't have to be in the military. You don't have to be in an actual battle in terms of war. But there is a strategic approach that you are taking to your ambitions, to your passions, to anything that you do. You are a mix of ice and fire. So it's those two elements that operate for you, the mind and then the passion and the drive. And there's big things because you've got two major arcana cards here. It's a big canvas you're working on. And the canvas is about a combination of change, but change and revolution and the new and the strategic, but done in such a way that doesn't destroy hope. One of the things that you're well aware of by the looks of things is that your nature would be almost crash through or crash, but you do get, with the Two of Wands here and the Four of Swords reversed, so there needs to be the kind of coming with other people, coming together with other people, that you can't change everything as quickly as you might do. That will just bring about unnecessary conflict here with the Five of Wands. Your strategic genius is an understanding about how to create change with the Tower here that is necessary, but not in such a way that everything falls and not in such a way that you and others lose hope, because you see these two things as being part of the strategy. If people are to change and move forward, whether this is in a career that you're doing, whether it's in friendships, whether it's in family, whether it's in literally some sort of battle or competition, you can see a need for change way ahead of other people. You are a very, very fast thinker. You do see ahead and you would like to just go ahead once you do things, but you have recognized that you have to temper some of that passion and some of that drive because other people need to be brought along on the journey, because otherwise the change is too much. So this could be, very typical of somebody who is in a workplace, and could be a manager or a leader who knows that there needs to be change, but knows that if you do too much, the productivity is going to go through the floor and everybody is going to be demoralized. And in fact, you'll bring about a demise rather than the true rejuvenation of energy. That's just an example of it. But there's something highly strategic, as I say, about you, and highly oriented towards action. What I'm not seeing there is Cups for the emotion, and I'm not seeing Pentacles for the material outcome. So you are more a person of change, new ideas, driving things forward, than you are of the longer term, what's the stability end of all of that, or even the heart. You're not as concerned with the hearts of people, or even, as I say, with the ultimate outcome, just with what the change process is. And that can be very valid and very valuable. It's not a bad thing at all. But it just shows that your mythical journey is about action and strategy, but tempered by an understanding that it needs to be done in a way that maintains people's hope. So you do understand the heart. You do understand that, and you do understand Pentacles. You do understand the outcome, not to destroy what it is that you're trying to change, but that's not where you're putting your energy at this point anyway. So let's ask what stage of your mythic journey you're at the moment. Okay, this looks to me like you actually can see a process, an outcome. This is why you do have the wisdom here, even though you're not necessarily the business planner, you're not necessarily the person who would be there long term and so forth. If this is around a relationship, you may well be committed, but you'll be moving on to the next thing that you want to do. You won't be dwelling, you'll be letting your partner then determine and build what they want to sustain with it. So whatever it is you do, you have a vision of that. You have a vision from the new material outcome through to how it invests and grows. So you can see that's part of your strategy. What is operating here, though, with the Knight of Cups reversed, is you're still not necessarily seeing this as a matter of heart. I'd be very surprised if this mythic journey at the moment with what you're focused on is a relationship. This feels like business. It could be study. It could be something like that. Like what do you take and build now, and what do you sort of leave behind because you've done what you needed to do with it? What is going on? There's something about change, and you're ready to really move forward now. You're ready to take the action. You've done the strategizing. You want to move forward. You really can see the outcome. It's just it's almost like once that's there, you just leave it to grow. You then move on to something else. But there is something where you're repressing your heart. Now, this could be because you're just very focused, or it could be because you've been hurt in relationships and you don't feel that you can act and strategize for a relationship. And to some degree, that can be true. It's like, it's about the heart. It's not necessarily about, being the cleverest person or the person who can perform the best. It's really something about the heart. And I think you may suppress some of that energy at the moment, or it's just not your focus at this point. So let's ask what you don't see, or where fate may throw in some elements that you need to be aware of. Okay, and now we're seeing the cups. We started to see it there. We're seeing it much more here. So what Spirit is saying to you is that you would be better off if you did also consider the emotional impact. You're considering it on others, I think, and so you're tempering your sort of action and your strategy to fit with that. You're not considering it for yourself. And I think that Spirit is saying there is actually some emotional outcomes and sort of some emotional clearing and cleansing and healing that you could get through this if you also incorporated that, but you're not putting it in your strategy. And for that reason, your strategy to some degree will not fully reach what you want it to reach. No matter how active you are, no matter how brilliant it seemed, there will be something lost emotionally. And that could affect the star and the hope for you and for others. It affects your strength as well too. It's your Achilles heel. You need to sort of work out what this means to you emotionally, because whether it's because in the end you just will keep moving on and you will never be truly fulfilled, or whether it is because somehow the return on all of this will not be realized because of the lack of that part of it. Spirit says that's going to have an impact. People and the situation wants to be happy, wants to find a place of happiness, wants the transition not just to be materially sensible, but emotionally sensible as well too. And with Two of Coins, it looks as though there's just some material choices around this that are more calibrated to the heart. It's the one piece. It's the one piece, pile two. It's not that you are doing anything wrong necessarily, and you are thinking about people's feelings and you are doing all that, but it's like you have absented yourself from the equation to some degree and your heart from the equation. And as a result, it won't have as much chance of being the full change and the full return on investment that you're hoping for in whatever this is. So this is partly a quest to recover your heart as well, but you aren't really looking at that at the moment, Spirit is saying. So, okay, let's have a look at what this, with the cards that were under the tarot deck, what this means on various levels. So we're going to start firstly with 3 cards that are for various elements of it on a very mystical level, and then we're going to do a couple that are more mundane 3D. So firstly, a card to show what the transformation journey really is for you. And it's an explorer. Okay, so I think this actually gives us some more information. You are an explorer by nature. You are somebody who will do the sort of traveling and the action and so forth. But if you do that, you never get to reap the rewards and you never get the sense of emotional home. So part of your transformation is to work out how can you have that as well as have that sort of freedom and strategy and being always there in the midst of the change and the transformation. There is a transformation for you too. You explore too long and you end up without a sense of stability and without a sense of home and love. So it's important to think about that. Then let's have a look at it as a journey of adventure, which is probably something you're very comfortable with, maybe almost too comfortable. And we have the 9 worlds. Okay, so this is you going between worlds, spiritually going between worlds. The world is so vast, there is so much to see, there's not enough time. And again, that's true in a way, and being a person of action and strategy, you've got every chance of seeing most of the 9 worlds and spiritually as well as sort of seeing the whole world here. But again, where's your home? Where are you investing your heart and your sort of like steadiness? Then we'll have a look at it as a spiritual journey. And we've got resilience. Yeah, see, this is the thing. you can do this. I mean, Spirit is saying you can do it. It's just that you're shortchanging yourself, pile 2, with this. And it means that you constantly have to be resilient. You constantly have to be acting and strategizing. You constantly have to be in the midst of change because you haven't found where to settle. It's the price of being the explorer of the 9 worlds, all the worlds. And that's okay. That can be your journey, but understand that's what you need, resilience, and that you may be shortchanging yourself. In the material world, let's see what that means. Around relationships, we have rekindle. So there may be something that you can go back to. Maybe there was a relationship that didn't work, or that you didn't pay enough attention to it because you were busy exploring everything else. There could be something there about rekindling that, or it could just be Spirit really wanting you to rekindle your heart. And then for lifestyle, we have obligation. So this is the balance. You feel an obligation to be the strategist, to be the actor, to be the one who actually takes people through change, and for it not to be about you. Spirit is trying to say that obligation, you're taking on too much. You really should rekindle also what you want to get from this. Okay, so let's have a look at some spiritual gifts that might help you in getting that balance right for your mythical journey. Pendulum, hell yes or hell no. Tea leaf reading, signs will guide you. Okay, so I think this is making decisions. And remember here we had the 2 of coins reversed, and there was a sense like on a material level you're not making a decision for yourself. I think the pendulum here is for you to start to make some decisions for yourself. And sometimes you're going to go, no, I don't need to worry about that. But other times you go, hell yes, there is a relationship here I could rekindle. Or hell no, I'm not obliged to do all of that. So I think it's taking back a little bit more control of the impact on your life. And with tea leaf reading, it says that signs will guide you. So watch out for synchronicities and so forth. Use that excellent mind and the strategic mind to see the synchronicities around you. And in terms of magic energy around you to help, we have activation. So I think that's activating the heart, because honestly, you're all over activation otherwise. I mean, it could just simply be saying that in terms of your overall mystical journey and mythical journey, you are always going to be traveling, you are always going to be an actor and all that, and that's fine. And it could be saying that. But I think it is also saying activate the whole here, particularly as you can see the circle that the person's with. That picks up all the elements, including the heart, and also something in the Pentacles realm for you. Let's see about divination. We've already got some divination here, but let's see what else could guide you. I Ching, change. So you're all about change. And aura, observation. Okay, so you will always be a change agent. That's just part of who you are. It's part of the explorer in you. It's part of the strategist in you, all of those things. That's not going to change, and you are going to be doing change. But if you observe yourself as well as others, I think you observe others very, very well. This is how you can design for them a change that they can go through that works. But if you observe yourself as well, you will see that you deserve the same degree of support as you are giving others. So I think it's really just a slight perspective shift that Spirit is suggesting to you, because they're saying otherwise you create the fate. You create the fate where you walk away from what could have been a happy outcome and what could have been there for you, because you're always walking. That's, I think, what Spirit's trying to say. So also under the tarot card that brought you here were 2 cards from Divine Circus Oracle. And this is to give a bit of an idea about how the character arc is going from now into what you're developing into in your story. Now, and then Princess Victorious. Okay, these 2 cards together are telling me something interesting about where you are in your narrative arc. I think that fate is going to step in to try and really get you to reconnect with your heart and so forth here. And you can head this off at the pass if you start to think about it now. But at the moment with the trajectory, the Duke of Shadows is where there is information not available to you that you need. And you are a person of action and strategy. That would be driving you nuts. So there is something about this, something about whatever situation you're in where you don't have all the information to make the right decision. And it may be as simple as you're not incorporating your own heart and your own outcomes in this. You're just following a strategy that tends to work. In either case, with Princess Victorious, this card comes up when something hasn't worked. something hasn't fully become what you had expected it to be, something hasn't gone to plan. But this is saying you can still be that way. You just need to work out what didn't happen and bounce back, and you'll be able to bounce back. And it's sort of where once you've seen that, you realize, oh, it's actually good it didn't work in the way that I had expected it to, because now I can make it work even better. So I think this is just saying that spirit is going to really try and activate your heart. It's going to show you this in some way. So if there is a reversal, if something doesn't quite work out the way that's planned, trust that that's okay, that when more information comes to you, you will see that it is to open you up to a pathway that will work better. Okay, and so maybe to help you a bit with some of that information that it's asking you to see, we'll use 3 different decks. One will be around astrology, one will be some angel numbers, and then we'll get a crystal chakra card to close out the reading, pile 2. So astrology energy around your mystical and mythical pathway, pile 2, is Scorpio, Leo, and Gemini. Okay, see, this is Leo and Gemini. You're all over. You know, Gemini is the strategist, the mind, etc. Leo is there with the fire, the energy, the drama. But you're also Scorpio. Probably in your chart, all 3 of these are strong in one form or another. But for some reason, you haven't been paying as much attention to Scorpio. Scorpio gets to the depths. Scorpio is a very intense sign. It is going to try and make sure that it is heard. So I think this is why we have this sense that maybe something in your strategy is going to take longer or falter a bit in some way. And you'll feel like, oh, did it not work? But it's once you actually really examine it with the sort of forensic intensity of emotion that Scorpio can bring, you can bring that back up to the surface and make yourself the amalgam of these things. And that's what you need to become the victorious one. Okay, let's see what angel numbers can help you. We've got balance and authenticity. Okay, so angel number 666 is saying balance and priorities are required in order to achieve success in your relationships, health, goals, and finances. This is, your angels are saying it's just a matter of balance. You've got it all. You've just got to reconnect with the intensity of your emotion. You've submerged it for some reason, maybe because it's so intense. I mean, Scorpio can be really intense. And then we have authenticity, and that's angel number 1111. Your angels are motivating you to embrace your truth. If improvements are necessary, be the change you want to see in yourself. And that's the case. It's like maybe there is something. You need to find out some more information. You need to look deeper, potentially in your own heart, to get the information you need to then be victorious because you're true to who you are. So it's really just a matter of exploring yourself a bit more. You've explored the earth, you know, massively, and you've been a traveler, but explore yourself too so that you find your true home. Okay, so to finish off, we're just going to pull a crystal chakra card to see what chakra Spirit wants you to focus on most for this stage of your mythical journey. The solar plexus chakra. So your own personal power, not just the power energy that you're dealing with in the world in whatever this is. And we have sunshine aura quartz with it, which is about rejuvenation and expansion. So the affirmations to leave you with are, I choose to expand my perspective. Yes, that's pretty much what Spirit's been going on about all through this reading. And I take time to rejuvenate my energy. Yes, look after you because you are important in whatever this is, and this mythical and mystical journey is important for others, but it has to have a reward for you too. You know, it's not just the game and winning the game. That in itself is not enough of a reward. You need to have the reward of love and security and recognition and all those things too. And you can bring all that together, but it is a matter of reconnecting with your heart, pile 2. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. And if you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So this first line of tarot cards, I'm going to read in 2 ways. I'm going to start with looking at the balance of major and minor arcana and also the suits to get a bit of a sense of the energy around your mythical or mystical journey. And then I'm going to be looking at what the cards themselves seem to be saying about the overarching narrative that we're looking at. First thing I would say, 2 major arcana out of 6 tells me that there's some big ticket items here. When I see major arcana in something like a mythical or mystical journey, I feel that whatever you're doing has a very larger than life type of feeling to it. It's not just about your own personal development. It impacts on others in some way, whether that's friends, family, community, the country, whatever it might be. But there is a kind of a macro external world impact on your mythical and mystical journey, and which helps to propel it also. What you've also got here is a dominance of coins or pentacles. So there is something about the material world with this, about money, resources, safety, security, those sorts of energies. And I'm actually getting from this, there's something from your mythical journey because of the suit here and the way it is in this deck that seems to kind of pick up sort of the energy, as I said, of things like Robin Hood or the Arthurian sort of legends, that kind of Celtic energy. You don't have to have come from that background, but you might have had a past life there. Otherwise, it's that sort of feeling. It's about the distribution of money and the honor of that in some way to make for happiness, emotional happiness and celebration around whoever is in your life with the 3 of Cups there. So there is definitely an emotional component with this, that you want to share happiness with others and share material resources with others, and you don't want to spend too much time worrying about the detail with only 1 Swords card and with it reversed. You're also you don't want to battle. You're not interested in ego stuff. You're not interested in, sort of like passion and drive in that sense. You're much more interested in the heart, because we don't have any fire, any wand cards here, though the Chariot, I think, to me always has that sort of feeling, a bit of that kind of energy, but it's still a major arcana card. So you don't really want too much around the philosophy of it, but you will accept that sometimes you need to do that with the 5 of Swords reversed to deal with any petty sort of squabbles. But you really want to look at how people can come together and enjoy the resources and make the decisions that are mutually supportive and give us firm foundation. Because there's something changing or moving very rapidly around you, your community, your nation, whatever level that you're working at with the Chariot, whatever level this is operating in, there's change, and you're trying to bring things into balance. And for you, the way that you bring things into balance is make sure that people can be happy with an outcome and that it's materially secure. There is some calling on your strength at the moment. You are questioning whether you are completely up to this. I think you're a little bit tired of political debates or arguments about philosophy or something with the 5 of Swords reversed. You're just a bit over it by the looks of things. You are very much on what the outcome is and that people should be happy, but it's like there's some petty rubbish going on or whatever. It's sapping your strength a bit, but you're still in the driver's seat to bring something about. You're still seen as somebody who's a bit of a go-to person around this, around the solution, I think, and around how to make it work harmoniously in whatever way this is operating in your life. So let's ask what else we can know about the stage that your mystic or mythic journey is on at the moment. So where are you kind of up to in this journey towards taking people through the change or balancing all the various sides and interests so that there is something that is mutually supportive and not too draining on your own energy, because it looks like you deal with a lot of petty stuff. So where are you up to? Okay, I think many of you may be in a leadership position of some sort. Well, you certainly have established yourself as a power and authority in all of this, particularly around the material. So you are at that point, and you have articulated and potentially got for yourself some sort of true happiness emotionally. You might have a strong family around you, a strong community around you. There is a sense of something enduring on the emotional level. This is why we see this sort of celebration up there. But you're tired. You're tired, and you're not fully certain yet that you've got the right recipe for the sustainability of something. So it's like you've gone through whatever needed to be done to sort of right the ship a bit, whatever that means in your particular scenario. People are happy with that. They can see you as a leader, and they're happy to be following you. They're happy to have that going on. But you're not entirely sure. You're at this point because you're tired. You're trying to work out whether this is going to realise what you want it to realise with the Page of Coins reversed. Is there a fault in it? This is probably also why there's a little bit of irritation up here with the Five of Swords reversed. You don't want to think about every detail. You're more a big picture person and a person who comes from the heart, not from the strategy, not from the detail, not from the battle. But I do think that you're being called upon to think about things. Now that you've maybe gone into a higher position of power, or you've got more authority, or you've started your own business, so you're your own boss, or whatever it is. And at the moment, it's about recalibrating your energy so that you can assess and course correct if you need to around the material outcomes. So let's ask, what don't you see, or what might fate deal you that's going to be important for your mythic journey? Pile 3. Okay, I do have to say, if you've come to the right reading, I do think many, if not most of the people who've come here, as I say, have gone into some sort of leadership role. Definitely, there's something like that. Because what we're seeing here is that the impact of major fated changes in the world that is destabilizing the world to some degree is having an impact on what you're trying to create. So this is the classic sort of reading that you were starting a business, for instance, and you had a great team around you, and then we had the pandemic, and suddenly there were all these other factors you had to take into account in the way that you did business. There is something going on, Spirit is saying, in the greater world, things that aren't being able to be completed, things that are being thrown into a bit of turmoil and need to be brought back into balance. And that is affecting your fortunes because it's affecting other people's fortunes as well. And that is bringing a little bit of discontent both within you and maybe those around you about can what we've built here be sustained. Certainly, Spirit is saying with the Six of Coins, there should be a way to materially work this through. This is part of your genius. You are very, very good when it comes to material outcomes, very, very good about money and all those sorts of things. Even when the world is in chaos, you seem to be able to find a way to get resources and so forth. But there's something that's going to come out with the High Priestess reversed that might knock you for a bit of a loop at first. It may be with the Queen of Wands that you have a competitor that you need to be aware of, and who is pretty good at the action and so forth, where you're more around, as I say, the material sort of thinking in the heart. So it may be just sort of someone who has a different approach. And so you may need to be careful, particularly if you do have a business or something like that, that there isn't a competitor that could come along to try and take over in some way, because take an opportunity when things are a bit unstable. But Spirit is saying that not to get disconsolate about this, that there is actually resources and ways to do things. There's also the possibility, depending upon whether this is a good person or a bad person, because the High Priestess reverse only tells you that some information is going to come to you. It may be a good person. I mean, it is upright. It could be that, in fact, there's a capacity to collaborate and have an investor. That's the other way you could read it. But certainly, this feels very much like a macro level thing. It's being affected by macro level things in the world, and it's got to do with material sort of outcomes, business, career, and so forth. And you're just trying to work out your energy and what you can still achieve. And I think Spirit is saying a lot, but there will be factors that are out of your control. Okay, so given that, let's have a look at some of the cards that were also under the tarot that brought you here. So we've got 3 cards that are about different aspects of this mythic journey from a kind of spiritual mythic level, fantastical level almost, and then we have 2 that are more mundane around relationships and lifestyle. So firstly, a card about the transformation journey that you are on. We have the Pioneer. Okay, so yes, you are the person who sort of sets things in the land and brings in the new and creates the new communities and all that sort of thing. But it may also be that you need to expand beyond the horizons that you thought. This whatever's going on in the world may make you need to rethink about what are your horizons, what is your upper limit that you want to go for. Maybe you have undersold what you could do. Maybe the amount of change and forward momentum is more than you're giving yourself credit for with the Strength card reversed. So given if your journey here is partly about doing the new and getting out there and creating something and all the things that the pioneers did on a very material level, what's the adventure arc using Norse mythology? And we have Hagalaz. So Hagalaz is disruption. It is change. This is whatever this wild card is, I think, that's coming in. I think that there is that this pioneering effort and where you're going is going to have some disruption. But you can right the ship. That's not really the issue. It's just being aware of that. There's a lot of elemental power in there and there is a challenge in it. And you maybe haven't been terribly challenged to date beyond just trying to bring it all together. This is why this sort of Wands energy is coming in, and you don't really like to battle. That's not your natural style. So potentially if the Queen of Wands is someone who is an ally, they could actually take that on. But if not, there is a battle coming to you and you're going to have to be prepared to take that on. Let's have a look at the sort of more spiritual side of this. Trust. Okay, this could be trust in yourself that you can do it. It could be trust in the divine, or it could be that this person is trustworthy. It's going to depend. This is a collective reading. So for some, it's going to be somebody you can trust, and for some, it's going to be more that you have to trust yourself. But this spiritual journey is to pioneer, to do the new, and to build more than you expect to build. But to understand in doing that, you become more in the world and so more subject to the fates of the world. So you need to trust in yourself and in your pathway. On a more mundane level, let's look at relationships and lifestyle. Relationships, jealousy. Yeah, see, if that's working negatively, as I say, it could be a competitor. It could also be that part of this you've been setting up not only a business and so forth, but also a happy family. There could be people who are jealous of you. So just be aware that that's a possibility. And then lifestyle, we have pattern. So Spirit is trying to say to you that there is a pattern beneath all of this. And understanding that pattern will make it easier to deal with when there are the challenges coming in. There's cycles and patterns to all of it. Okay, so maybe to help with that, let's look at some spiritual gifts that might be of use to you. Crystal power, focusing your energy, and magic, creating what you want. So yes, it is about focus. It is about, and sometimes focusing where you're least comfortable. So in some of the sort of detail and strategy, and in some of the sort of more active egoic stuff, because that helps you create what you want. You need all the elements to create magic. So there is don't leave one aside, because it's going to be your potential Achilles heel. But focus your energy on the outcome that you want. Let's have a look at what magic, because we've got magic there. So let's have a look at what magic ability may help you. Higher self. Okay. So you are very in tune with your higher self. Getting a card like this, whether you're aware of it or not, you operate very much from that level. That's where your natural leadership and understanding comes from. Listen to your higher self for when things start to seem to be out of control about how to bring them back into balance. Your higher self will help you with the Chariot here, will help you make sure that you keep that in balance and keep it moving forward. And they might also send you messages through divination. So let's have a look at what divination energy could help you. Black cat, good luck. Oh, okay. And I Ching, change. Okay, so I think this is saying overall, once you sort of connect with your higher self and your inner magic, you'll know that you are actually going to be lucky in this change. That even when there are reversals and issues that are happening in the greater world, and even if there's competition, that you are able to deal with the change. It's because you were so grounded and because you come from the heart and people respond to that, you will be able to deal with that change. Also, if a black cat's around you, it's lucky. So pay attention to that. All right. What was also under the tarot card that brought you here were a couple of cards from the Divine Circus Oracle. And I'm using that to look at the narrative arc in a different way. So now and then what you're developing into, some other sort of information about what your mythic journey is about. Date with destiny. Wow. and Red Countess. So this is in combination very much your suspicions of destiny and being right about it type of narrative arc. Date with destiny is literally that. This is why it felt so macro. There are very big ticket items going on in your life. Whether you are on the world stage as a politician or whether you're a business person trying to deal with them or whatever it might be, there are the very big ticket changes occurring. But the date with destiny is that things that are meant for you will come through, things that aren't won't. Don't worry too much about that. Trust in it. That's why trust was the energy for this spiritually, because there are some very big changes coming, but they are for your good. And the Red Countess actually is where you already have that inner knowing. You already know it's coming. If you've come to the right reading, you know there are macro things going on in the world. You can see what their impact can be. You can plan around it. You can trust in your ability to do it. And you can trust that whatever the world throws at you, you will be able to deal with. I'm also getting that the Red Countess is a bit like the Queen of Wands here. So this may, in fact, for some of you, I think this card is playing a different part for different people who are coming here. For some, it's a competitor you need to be aware of because they're more about action and PR and show. For some, it's a collaborator. I think for another, it may be a very wise counsel. There's a feeling of what you know. It may even be a version of you in your higher self, in actual fact. But go to your inner knowing because it is going to be on point. It really is. But yes, you are coming into destiny. You are coming into a time where some things are so macro that they're going to happen anyway, and then it's how you respond to them that is what then forms the next stage of your mythic journey. So given that, let's see what advice Spirit can give as a parting shot to this big ticket item that it says is going on in your life. So we'll start with some astrology, then we'll use angel numbers, and then we'll close with a crystal chakra card. So astrology that could help pile 3 in this date with destiny. Please, Spirit. 8th house, fire, Taurus. Okay. So Taurus feels very much like your energy, very grounded, very earthy, wanting to enjoy things, wanting everybody else to enjoy it. So that's your kind of guiding star. Fire is the passion that you need to bring to some of this, and I think picks this energy up. So I think it's a person or a guide or something like that is very much about the action that needs to be taken, or they're the fire that's put under you by a competitor. It's going to be one or the other, but there's this energy that needs to be brought to this, and you need to think about your energy and protect your energy. There's also the potential for other people's resources, as I said. So this could be a collaborator too, or there could be a collaborator energy coming in, or it could be just doing the right deal with the bank, basically, to deal with whatever economic circumstances are going on. So I think you're picking up that side of things with the 8th house. The 8th house is also about going to the depths and understanding something psychologically. It's like going to the underworld. So really looking at this and understanding yourself, it will be part of your transformation to be more than what you are now. What angel numbers might help you to watch out for and to contemplate during this major change process, pile 3? Self-care. Yes, you probably will need to look after yourself. And protection, but you are protected. See, this is good. With all of this, there is protection around you. That doesn't mean just sit back and wait for it to all pass. You won't really be able to, but there is protection around you. The self-care angel, 722, is saying you are being called to take time for yourself, tune into your body, your desires and your feelings. So that's going to be part of your guiding star. That's why the Taurian energy is so strong. The angel number 40 of protection says your angels are letting you know that you are safe and protected. Feel the warmth surrounding you. So don't catastrophize with this. You will find a way through. You are too materially sensible and you're too connected to your heart to have it really destabilize you. But there is change coming. But there's opportunity in the change as well. Okay, so to close out, we'll just draw one crystal chakra card to see what chakra energy and what chakra in particular Spirit suggests you focus on at this stage of your mythic journey, pile 3. Throat chakra. So it's going to be about communication, how you communicate. And that's not the main thing you want to do, but it is something you're going to have to distill and bring into being particularly if there's confusion or competition. We've got chrysocolla there, which is about self-awareness and comfort. So the affirmations that Spirit wants to leave you with are, I am comfortable with my true self. So yes, there's nothing wrong. Spirit is saying there's nothing wrong with you or what you're doing. It's really just how you now deal with what's happening on a more macro level. And the other affirmation is, I am highly aware of what I say and do. And that's probably the main thing that you need to be through all of this. What are you saying and doing? Because they're two areas, the action of fire and the air, that were less well represented. So bring that into the picture so that you are covering all the elements and you shall be fine. So pile 3, I hope that is helpful. I hope it wasn't too heavy. You've got interesting time coming, I would say, but I have every faith in you and being able to navigate it. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. And if you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome pile 4 to your reading. So this first line of cards is to give an overarching sense of the type of mythic or mystical journey narrative that you have. And I'm reading the cards in two ways in this first line. Firstly, in how the balance of major and minor arcana, and then the suits in the minor arcana tell me something about the nature of your elemental energy and your interaction, and how much it's in the larger world and how much it's an internal journey. And then I will look at what the cards themselves say in more classic terms. But firstly, I would say 3 of the 6 cards here are major arcana. That tells me that there is something about what you are doing that has a bigger platform, a bigger scope, significantly bigger than just your life. And so, I mean, obviously everybody, has relationships and all those sorts of things. So everybody's not, unless you're sort of a monk living in, on a hill or something, you're always connected to the rest of the world. But when you have 3 major arcana cards around something like your mystical or mythical journey, there is a bigger stage for you than just, sort of friends, family, and the immediate workplace. So the immediate workplace could potentially extend fairly far, but there's something big, and there's something fateful about it too, which I'll get to. The way that you operate your particular mythical journey is around action primarily, with a bit of strategy. And it's not that strategy is bad at all, or that a bit is bad. A bit is better than nothing if you're an actor. But you do sometimes get a little bit caught up in the strategic planning in a way, and can maybe sort of box yourself in with the 8 of Swords there. So you kind of go to strategy when you think you need to. You really like to act, and you're very successful at that. You're very passionate, you're very creative, you're very charismatic, you get things done, you just get on with it. If you go into a battle, you're likely to be victorious with the 6 of Wands. You're used to winning, basically. But there is some disturbance in the force around the actions that you do, or around the actions of others. With the 4 of Wands reversed here, there's something around probably your more immediate environment where there is less happiness and less sort of sense of community than there was. And whether it is as a result of you having taken on and won a battle, it could be that you had to compete with others who are your peers and friends, and now you've won, and that could be one of the aspects of it. Or it could be that you have come home from certain battles to find that the home fires are not necessarily burning as brightly, because there is now some discontent around who is acting and how, and who's getting recognition and so forth, and all that kind of thing. This connection here could be bringing jealousy towards you. But you are going to be drawn out into a larger scale anyway with the Wheel of Fortune. There are things happening where you are on the rise, basically, and it's going to be required for you to come more out from behind the scenes. You haven't been behind the scenes in action, but you really haven't been kind of singing your praises with cups, and you haven't been sort of trying to settle down or anything with pentacles. You've really been all about the action, the fight. You could be athletic, you could be creative. There's a lot in that space, but you have not necessarily gone onto the full world stage in the way that you could. And there's some fate that's bringing that in. But then if you get too much into the detail, that's when you could potentially dim your sun. It's sort of like your strategy is almost instinctive. If you start to bring it too much up into the conscious mind, it almost like it strangles it to some degree. If you just act and you just create and you just have that sort of flair, you'll be successful, but it's like whatever this step up and out into a bigger stage, you're feeling like you need more of a strategy, and you're feeling like that could dim your sun. So I think your mythical journey or your mythical quest is how to still be this bright shining sun, this bright shining charismatic dramatic person on a larger scale, without losing friends and companions, and without getting to the point where you have second guessing yourself. And the fact that we don't see cups and pentacles here may be a bit of a hint about what could help with that. Getting back to the heart of things with cups, looking at what the consequences of your actions are with pentacles. There could be something there. So let's have a look and see what stage of this mythic or mystical journey you're on. I mean, this is the sort of thing of somebody who could become a worldwide celebrity, for instance, and it really seems to be part of their destiny. But some of the joy that they could have in it is that somewhere along the line, they've lost some of their friends and their companions and their love, and they feel sort of boxed in by the choices that they've made. That's one way that you could read something like this. Doesn't mean you're inevitably going to end up there. It's just an example of the kind of energy around it where the sort of will to win and to be seen and the recognition may bring other complications when you're on a larger stage. So let's see where you are at the moment. Okay, so this is interesting. So now we do have coins. Now we do have pentacles. Maybe the reason I wasn't seeing it there is that you've already won a number of battles and created for yourself, family, legacy, business, whatever it might be, moved up the career ladder. That's done and dusted. That almost you take for granted. Though there is still another mountain you could climb if you wanted to, and I think that fate is going to draw you into that. But it's interesting because it looks as though you have already suffered some of the jealousy and so forth. And that's why the sun's reversed. That's why the Four of Wands is reversed. It looks like you've achieved some great things, but you have actually drawn jealousy to yourself. And that's why you withdrew a bit. You got a little bit gun shy of going for the glittering prizes because the blowback from other people in terms of jealousy and friends and competition has been an issue for you. But you're pragmatic. And because you're not new to this game, when this opportunity comes along, you can take it, but you need to sort of work out what does that really look like? Because what is it worth? What is the price? What is the price of this, I think, is the thing. And you may well take the decision, and it wouldn't be the wrong one, that if friendships were lost because of your success, they weren't truly friendships. But you are a little bit gun shy because of it at the moment. You did feel it somehow. And maybe that's why the cups are not showing up. It's like it was actually quite hurtful, so you've suppressed a lot of that energy. So let's see what Spirit thinks you don't know, and or that fate is bringing in, because there's a lot of fate around this for you, that would be worth you knowing for your mythical or mystical journey, pile 4. Okay, so now we're seeing some of the cups, and I definitely think this is sort of fulfilling what I felt was starting to come out in this narrative, which is that you've been hurt. Something was delayed or stopped. Something that an offer that you wanted to make was not taken, or there was a lot of confusion, a lot of duplicity and so forth around emotional matters. It may be because you're so successful. You might have got to the level where now you're not sure that you can trust emotional offers that are coming to you, because are they there for you or are they there for what you represent? It could be something like that. Spirit is saying around that a different perspective with the Hangman reversed could help, and maybe planning what your next step will help you with that. But there still are some battles, but you're coming out of most of the battles. It's almost like Spirit saying what you're moving into, those battles won't matter anymore. This was sort of like petty stuff that was with people who were jealous because you had more drama, more charisma, more performance ability, whatever it might be. That is past. What you are moving onto on a bigger stage is the balance of how you deal with big ticket power in the world. So if you were a performer, it's like moving from doing sort of amateur theatre into suddenly you're on the silver screen. And what are the rules of this new environment, and what are the deals that you might have to make? And it's almost light and darkness here. Like, how do you balance that? Because the stakes are very, very high. So Spirit is saying that you're moving to another level in whatever you're doing. And as I say, the battles that you saw before are not the point. What you do need to sort out your emotional side of things, because there's very big ticket stuff that you're coming into the powers of the world in some way, into what could be, trapping sort of deals as opposed, or it could be, restricting sort of regimes. How do you deal with that? How do you keep this creative fire? And you really need to have defined not just what it looks like for you materially, but what you want emotionally, because that's the bit that gets even more complicated. The petty stuff starts to go away. It's higher stakes. So this is definitely the journey of someone who is moving up in the world in whatever it is that you do. And many of you, I think it is something in performance, drama, power of some sort that you're moving into, and there is destiny around it. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the other cards that were under the tarot card that brought you here. The first three are from decks that I think I want to examine sort of spiritual and sort of transcendent aspects of this mythic and mystical journey. And then we are going to look at a couple of more mundane ones with relationships and with lifestyle. So firstly, looking at this as a journey of transformation, what is the real narrative that we have here? We have the architect. Okay, so what this is saying, the architect on a spiritual level is like, the grand designer of the universe sort of thing. It is saying that, I think it's saying two things. One is the architect, the divine mind, is going to get involved in some of this. This is why it's going bigger picture. But it's also saying that you can understand, and this is maybe using your mind, how to create the world that you want. You are actually able to do that. Part of your success really wasn't necessarily just about your charisma and how attractive you are, for instance. It was also that you could manifest. You just didn't really think about it. It just came naturally to you. So this is reminding you that your journey is to become the architect, to not be caught by the rules of others, but to create your own world. But equally, the architect should not be so distant and so in their head that they miss out on the emotion. Let's look at it as an adventure using Viking oracle. And we have Perthro. And Perthro is a rune from the Viking mythology, and it's about initiation, deep transformation, the mystery. This is about a journey. So this is a deeply transformative time. It will roll out as it's going to roll out. I think for most of you at this point, you won't know this. You will think, well, I have been successful to some degree. I can't see how this is going to come. I think what Spirit wants you to know is it is. That's why if you start planning, because you are an architect, you can manifest, you can create better preconditions for it when this energy really starts to come through. And do think about reconnecting to your heart, looking differently at relationships. Then as a spiritual journey, awakening. Yes, this is awakening to what your true power is. You've seen yourself in too smaller sort of scope, really. You're going to be called upon through fate, through the powers of the world, through your own capacity to draw recognition, manifest into something that is more profound. And it's important to be able to turn the sun around. So let's look at this on a more mundane level with relationships and lifestyle. So relationships, talking about a bond. You need a partner, I think, whether it's a love partner or it's a friend or a collaborator. Because you're moving to this level, you need someone you can inherently trust, because you really don't know at the moment who you could trust in your world. But there is the capacity for the bond. You've just got to think differently about how you relate to people. And then lifestyle, release. Release the past irritations, release what hasn't worked before, because there will be genuine connections for you as well. And if you go back to being the architect of your life, you can bring that in. Okay, so let's have a look at some spiritual gifts that might help you in this pretty big step up that I think you're about to go on. Okay, so hell, making your own drama, and familiar, intimate companion. So this is saying to some degree, the emotional issues that you've got and some of the rest of this sort of like competitive stuff, you can make that bigger than Ben-Hur. It doesn't actually really have to be that big of an issue. This is making your own drama out of it, and that creates your own hell. Equally, as an architect, if you decide what you want emotionally and you think about how you manifest on a higher degree, then you're taking the drama out of it. With familiar, it's suggesting that, maybe a pet or some sort of like spirit guide or whatever would be helpful for you to balance this out. And maybe the beginning of the first bonds, if you felt hurt, then you can sort of move from that into being able to trust people more and so forth. Then let's have a look at what magic could help you. Abundance. So yes, your capacity to manifest. So this has been coming through that is something you don't even fully know about yourself, because you're all about the action and the sort of joy and the fire and the creation of it. But really you are about abundance, and your capacity to bring in abundance will help you, because it means you're a valuable property. And when you're moving up this ladder, you actually have a value. Do not sell yourself short. Okay, let's have a look at some divinatory energy that could help. I have Oracle, Wisdom, and Ogham, Nature. Okay. So this would suggest that you could be an oracle, you could draw in divinatory energy and see the future and so forth, maybe part of what your abundance is. It could also say that using various forms of oracles, coming to readings like this, things like that could be helpful for you. Also getting back to nature. This is also connecting to the familiar. You are getting into that sort of grounded energy of coins is something that will really help bring in the abundance and give you the stability that you need and the perspective that you need in these circumstances. Okay, so then we had 2 cards from the Divine Circus Oracle, which were also under the tarot card that brought you here. And the purpose of these is to see, in a sense, the persona energy of your narrative journey, your mystical path now and what you're moving into. Now we have Cherry on Top. Oh, and then we're moving to Alice. So Cherry on Top is all about the concept of, yes, you have had successes. It's sort of all this and the cherry on top. There's lots of opportunity for you. And as you move into this, it's going to be very exciting. And I think Spirit is saying that's fine. Enjoy that. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your success. It's just that if you plan a bit before it, if you trust that it's coming, you'll be better able to make sure you get your worth, because you're going into Wonderland. You're going into a much bigger, much more complex environment where there are different rules and there are traps and there are all those sorts of things. But it's what happens when you move up the ladder. It's a natural rite of passage. But keep the curiosity that Alice had. Know that you have the capacity to ground and all of those sort of things. It's important. But enjoy the success. You've deserved it. Okay, so let's finally look at some other spiritual advice for you. Firstly, some astrology. Then we're going to get some angel numbers for you. And then we're going to finish off with a chakra card. So firstly, some astrology to help you in this very big step up that's about to happen in your life. Pile 4. Venus. Uranus. 4th house. Yeah. This could be saying, particularly as we have like the 10 of Pentacles, that some of this change could have a fairly disruptive energy on your home life. You and your family may need to get up and move or something, or you may have to travel a lot, so not be at home as much. But remember, if that's the case, to keep the connection, the emotional connection. If it wasn't a family energy that we were seeing with the 10 of Pentacles, if it was more around business, then this is saying that a change around your love nature will make you more at home with yourself. So it sort of depends on how that 10 of Pentacles was operating for you. Let's see the angel numbers that could help you with energy at this point. Pile 4. The angel number of balance. The angel number of health. Okay, so balance 666. I actually think these came up for somebody else. Maybe not in the same reading, I'm not sure. But I've seen these 2 in these readings before. So some of you may have come to 2 readings. The balance number 666 is saying balance and priorities are required in order to achieve success in your relationships, health, goals and finances. So yes, it's all just about balance, because you're stepping up and you're going to need it even more, because you are going to get the success. Then you have the health angel number 5555. You are being nudged to commit to improving your overall well-being. Consider healthier habits. Doing so will avoid future consequences. So some of that energy stuff, how you use your energy, your emotional energy, all of those things. Don't burn the candle at both ends. Don't get so excited with this next step up that you burn yourself out. I think that would be the one thing that Spirit would make sure, well, I want you to make sure that you don't do. So to finalise, we're going to ask for a crystal chakra card for Spirit to say what chakra is most important for you to concentrate on now and what affirmations associated with it are the most helpful for you. You've got the third eye chakra, so your connection to your intuition, to your telepathy around others, to being able to understand the situations that you're in and so forth. It has lapis lazuli, inspiration and contact. The affirmations are, I am forever in contact with my higher self. So yes, don't lose contact with that. That will always steer you the right way. And I am inspired by the world around me, and you will be, because you're moving into a bigger world. Take it as inspiration, take it as passion, take it as your art. But make sure that you balance your energy and that you balance your heart, that you make the changes to your heart that make you feel at home with yourself. Then you'll be fine, but this is big, I would say, pile 4. So I hope that this resonated for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.